Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Rhodey.
Here.
Commissioner Schrey.
Here.
Commissioner Denosick.
Here. Whoa.
Okay. All right, if we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
United
States
States of America,
and
to
to
the
the
republic for which it
It
stands,
stands one nation,
nation, under God, indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
for all.
Reciprocal, that they will live up to their obligations under the Phase 1 trade deal. It was a good deal for.
We
Okay.
good there?
We're there. Okay. Let's move on to correspondence. There's none. Consent calendar items. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Bank account balances, we don't need to take any action on, correct?
Yeah, that's right. They're just there for reference. Those links will stay active after the meeting too, if anyone wants to go back and look at them.
Okay. Let's move to department reports.
Yeah, I can run us through these. I know we want to, stick to our core business tonight. So there are links for each of our departments there, but I thought it might be beneficial just to comment a little bit about each department and how we're functioning in the COVID environment. So, building permits is first. I will mention to the commissioners, to the public, that we are processing permits to the extent that the activity is permitted. So folks that are looking for a fence or shed or items that require a building permit where the activity is permitted, we are issuing them. There might be a day or two delay just because we're using scan and email and other methods to process them, but we are open in that capacity and we are issuing permits in that regard. And I want to make sure that folks realize that. The other things that we're doing within that department to function in this environment is we are doing code enforcement, right? So our code enforcement officer, Joe Niedermeyer, is starting to patrol. Obviously he's one person in a car and is, patrolling the community to make sure that we don't have any issues with property maintenance or other things, and make sure that the community stays to a high standard while we're dealing with everything else. Parks and Rec is pretty much the one department that's mostly shut down in this environment. We've closed all of our program offerings, and we're don't really have much to report there. I think that both communications and the police would like to probably say a few words about what they've done this past month, and then I can give the Public Works report when we get to it. But Andrew, I'll pull up your report and let you go over communications, and then we can go to the chief. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Thank you. The communications department was able to get the last issue of the magazine printed. Our printer is still operating with a limited staff under the restrictions. And I've also been working on a short 4-page newsletter that would be ready to go, particularly in the event that we got word soon that restrictions were going to be lasting longer than April 30th, with information for the public about health, the appropriate resources to look to for correct information, information about the assistance help form and helpline that the commissioners asked us to set up for the public, information about how to sign up for emergency news and alerts, the resources that the public needs to still stay connected with us during these times that a lot of people are isolated. So if we were to move forward with a print edition of that, that is reimbursable through PEMA under our emergency declaration. So it's something that I would like to consider. Again, if our restrictions go past April 30th, I'll have it queued up and ready to send out. I think that would be a worthy publication to help residents. I also want to mention that a lot of time over the past few weeks was spent setting up online information about COVID, especially southfayettepa.com/COVID-19, which has many resources for residents, even including links, like if they're wondering, I'm having problems with my rent or paying my utility bills or needing food assistance. And there also is a map shared on testing sites, the county map on confirmed cases. So a lot of great resources right on our own website that people can get to. So we've been trying just to keep up on getting the most current and accurate, information to help the residents over the past few weeks.
Great. Thanks, Andrea.
Good. Thank you.
I have a question, Andrea.
Yes.
I have a question. How many people reached out to the offer that we put out there to help? Was there anybody, or if there was, how many were there?
John Barrett, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we've had about a half dozen that have reached out specifically through that avenue so far.
Yeah, I can speak to that. I mean, we through the hotline, so we set up a number on our office for helpline. There have only been 5 or 6 calls to that. We did reach out to each of those people and connected them to resources, whether it be connect them to the food bank, or in a couple of cases, we were able to connect them with the school district and their school lunch delivery program. And in a few instances, even, several of our commissioners have stepped up and have made deliveries to folks in need like that. We also got a couple more through like the online tool, but by and large, it hasn't like really jumped off, I'd say. We are taking calls, a lot of calls at the building with questions about where people can go for certain types of assistance. But the helpline itself, it didn't get flooded with calls, to be honest with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we move to police report? Chief, are you ready to touch on some activity in the department?
Sure. Just to give the commissioner a quick update on the coronavirus situation as pertaining to the police. The first 2 weeks that we had shelter in place, our calls diminished significantly, but we've seen an uptick in the last week or so with some other calls. Traffic is, as you can tell, is at a minimum. So our traffic stops and traffic enforcement is significantly down. In March alone, we've had 120 hours of our training canceled just in this month alone that was previously canceled. I'm hoping that we can, reschedule that later in the year. We have received as a police department numerous donations from residents and businesses providing not only food, but the N95 masks, hand sanitizer, disinfectants, wipes, rubber gloves. On top of purchasing it at the beginning of this, now we have donations rolling in, and we have a rolling list at the station. Anybody that makes a donation, we taking their names down so we can thank them as a group when we get through most of this. This week, also any state emergencies or state information that comes in pertaining to this, the officers are given, we have a clipboard at the building through email, and the clipboard that gives them all the most updated information on what's going on, not only in the state and locally, but nationally. Is another layer of safety for the officers. This week we're going to start, as each officer comes in to start their shift, their temperature is going to be taken with an infrared thermometer, no touch thermometer, just to make sure that nobody is higher than 100.4, which is the temperature level for the first symptom of the coronavirus. So we're going to keep a running chart of that. And if they are above 100.4 temperature, they will be sent home and further provided their health care and a test for, to see if they're positive or negative on that. It's just another way of us trying to minimize anybody coming in to contact so it doesn't spread through the department. And then one other last thing is with all the training being canceled, I know there's almost 300, if not more, training being scheduled or canceled for April. I don't see this stopping anytime soon. So not at this point, but at some point, I would like to sit down. John's aware of it. I did some research on a virtual training system. It's called Apex Officer. And what it is, it's a virtual training, shoot, don't shoot kind of training that has over 3,000 scenarios based in this training. And we not only, if we would buy this, would be able to continue training with this kind of thing internally with our department, but after this is over, we would like to host some of these trainings with other departments to have them come in and use it too. But other than that, as far as cost and everything, I can talk to you at a later time with that. It's something that I've been thinking about. So
Hey, just to interject quickly, this is John. I know my face isn't on the screen right now, but I don't. When we talked about that virtual training, that potentially could be something where it's a reimbursable opportunity. I mean, I don't know for certain, but perhaps with some of the stimulus funding, and if some money is put towards local governments, it would seem like efforts of the police department to be able to train in a safe, social distance kind of a way might be something that we could seek reimbursement for. I don't know that to be true, but I think we should explore it.
yeah, we discussed that too. Also, I mean, like the SHACOG municipalities, departments, they a lot of times give free training to SHACOG members. That's something that I would probably want to look at, not charging at least SHACOG, but other departments that aren't in the SHACOG, there is a reimbursement portion of that where we could recoup some of the money.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Chief Phoenix?
No, none.
Nope.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Hey, just quickly on Public Works, one thing that I will kind of make sure everyone's aware of is just that we have evolved how our Public Works have been deployed. When this pandemic hit us initially, our first reaction, and largely it was based on, I'll say it, it was based out of fear. We had a problem with getting supplies for disinfectants and getting proper equipment for our guys. So our first reaction was to get them home and put them on emergency call-out duty. But that was very short-lived because we had some weather, we had a lot of rain, we had some trees down that were blocking roads. We had a lot of other things that just required Public Works, and we learned really quickly that they are a vital part of emergency relief. So in the last couple of weeks here, we've been really ramping up how we're deploying Public Works. We're back stocked up with all of our sanitizers and equipment. We changed our operations to have one guy in a truck. Guys are reporting, not gathering in the break rooms, but getting some work done. Over the last couple of weeks, we spent a lot of time on the trail, on the Panhandle Trail, and in our parks with some storm projects. But I just wanted to mention that our guys are working. They're not necessarily working their full 40-hour week. It's averaging about 25 or 30 per week, but they are back into the swing of things a little bit more than they had been. So I want to make sure people knew that.
Well, and now with the governor's order that came out today with everybody required to wear masks and practice additional safety measures, what does that look like?
Yeah, we're going to have to look at that closer. I mean, I know that we don't necessarily have masks for the Public Works guys, and I've seen them use like bandanas and other like homemade things for that purpose. Gwen, do you know if that requirement for Public Works would have them wearing like an N95 mask, or would a like a surgical type of mask or a cloth mask be sufficient?
I think any of the cloth masks that, like those homemade masks that they were showing on TV, how to construct your own mask, that's something that has a filter that's going to clear things out. I don't know if bandana would work, but I think we need to make sure that we have masks.
Yeah,
I saw it come out today at after 4 o'clock. So I'll have to read through it and just see what the specifics of it are. I just know that we're required now to have anybody that's working at any capacity needs to be protected, and they need to have the everybody has to wear a mask now.
Yeah, I understand. I'll make sure.
No, John, I was going to say I could get with you tomorrow. We might have a couple. We don't have a lot to spare. We have some for them to spare. They might not be the N95 ones, but they're more or less homemade ones.
Thanks, Chief. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Well, I think that wraps up departmental reports.
It does. So let's move on to, there is no old unfinished business. So let's move to new business. Item A, discuss and consider approving resolution 2020-04.
Right. So we actually took action on this, right? So when we declared an emergency, we have to notify county EMS. So initially we did that with a signature of the board president, and that got us a short period of time. We then were able to get the resolution you see in front of you signed by three of our board members. So that was able to take effect for a 30-day period. It's really the purpose of putting it in front of you tonight is just to memorialize action that was taken since we were able to gather last. So we would look for the board to approve resolution number 4 of 2020. It's an emergency declaration for the township.
Okay, is there a motion to approve resolution 4 of 2020 declaring a disaster emergency?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item B, discuss and consider resolution 2020-05, extension of disaster relief.
Right. So I mentioned that the declaration we're under covers a 30-day period. To extend that, we need to pass an extension resolution. This came from Allegheny County EMS. So after we pass this will give it to us indefinitely, and then we'll have to take action to lift it when the time becomes appropriate. And this will allow us to, act in between meetings if we needed to. It would allow us to kind of break our protocols for purchasing if we needed to do things related to the emergency. And I would recommend that we pass it. This would be resolution number 5 of 2020, an extension of declaration of disaster emergency.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve resolution 5 of 2020, extension of declaration of disaster emergency?
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item C, discuss and consider resolution 2020-06, condemnation of property at 315 Mead Street, block and lot number 324-B-48.
Hey, Bob, I'm going to ask if you don't mind introducing this to the board.
Sure. There's been discussion at staff level with respect to acquiring this property for extension of parking associated with Morgan Park. This gives us the ability, absent coming to an agreed upon amount of compensation with the property owner, to condemn the property and acquire it through eminent domain proceedings. I feel fairly certain that we would be able to arrive at such agreement, and we may not have to proceed under the eminent domain code to acquire the property.
Okay, so we need, do you want us to take it? So then we'll just take action and to approve resolution 6 of 2020.
Right, that gives us the ability to condemn the property. If we can't come to agreement, the resolution specifically indicates that we will continue to negotiate the purchase of the property.
Okay, sounds good. All right, do we have is there a motion to approve resolution 2020-06, condemnation of property at 315 Mead Street?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item D, discuss and consider approving resolution 2020-07, local government week.
Yeah, initially I was given some thought to pulling this from the agenda just to streamline things, but I feel like it really is important for us to take a moment here and just, recognize local government week as we normally would. And, really wanted to take this moment to, thank the police officers who continue to serve in this environment, the public works employees, our medics and our first responders, fire and EMS. Everyone has really been stepping up to the challenge. Haven't heard really any complaints from anyone. Everyone is more than willing to jump in. So I thought it'd be appropriate for us to continue with our tradition of supporting Local Government Week. And to do that, we prepared Resolution 2020-7, just recognizing Local Government Week 2020.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2020-07, Local Government Week?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I just want to say thank you to everybody too at the Township Building for keeping us up and running. You guys have done a great job. We're continuing business as usual. We may not do it in the same way we normally do business, but we are still continuing to move things forward. And it's just thank you to everybody that's continued to do everything to make us South Fayette.
Yeah, absolutely. Our pleasure.
Item E, discuss and consider approving Resolution 2020-08 GEDF grant application.
Right. So, we are continuing to seek out grants. In 2017, the township secured a grant for 515 Millers Run Road. This would have been for recreation facility. And, that grant is coming close to its expiration date. So one of our strategies is to put a project together for that site that would involve recreation and seek out another grant that would allow us to do more. So what you're seeing here, the image on the screen, is Morgan Park. The project we're proposing is to reduce the number of ball fields from 5 to 3 by doing some stream bank stabilization, planting riparian buffer along the stream bank to avoid the erosion that's taking place and to help with water control, to install a walking track around the field, regrade and install the baseball fields that are there, replace the dugouts, as well as concession stand and restrooms. And this would be through a grant application to the GEDF program, which is an application to the Redevelopment Authority of Allegheny County. So the project that you see in front of you today requires a resolution to support it. And that resolution is number 2020-08, and it's supporting the GEDF grant application in the amount of $400,000.
This plan that you have up here, you said it reduces the fields down from 5 to 3, correct?
It does, yeah.
And then is that where it says multi-purpose play field? That's what'll be in place of one of the fields that's currently existing?
That's right. That would serve as kind of a spillway that would allow water to infiltrate, but it also would be usable when, obviously when it's not raining or when it's dry. And it should be noted too that this would be in conjunction with work in Fairview Park that would install ball fields. So when you think of the township as a whole, we wouldn't be losing a number of fields by going from 5 to 3. We're installing 3 fields there, so that would actually put us ahead one, and these fields would be in much better condition and able to take on play more so than they are currently.
Is this what you have on the screen? Does this reflect our Parks Master Study plan that we had done? Is this something that they had in there?
Well, actually, no. And the only reason that is, if you recall, when we went through that master plan.
But we didn't do anything with Morgan.
Left Morgan out, largely because of the uncertainty with public works and what admin and police were going to do. So this keeps I know that the priority from that discussion with the board was we wanted to retain ball fields and recreation at that site. So this allows us to do that. So which is why we thought it was important.
Okay.
Are you going to be putting drainage in also back there, John, so the water doesn't lie in there?
Yeah, when those fields get regraded, it will give us an opportunity to get water where it's supposed to go, and if there needs to be some field drains put in, they can do so at that time.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? All right, then if not, is there a motion to approve Resolution 2020-08 GEDF grant application.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item F, discuss and consider ordinance 2020-02, accepting Cromwell Lane and Celebration Circle.
Yeah, Andy, are you out there? Can I ask you to introduce this to the group?
I am. This is a following up on agreements with the Newberry developers that we would take over these streets and pave them, put the final layer of asphalt on them. We are not able to put any paving on a street that we don't own. So this would be part of this year's paving program, but a necessary prerequisite of that is to accept the streets and make them part of our road network. And then we could go ahead and pave them this year. So this is an ordinance to accept 2 roads in Newberry, Cromwell Lane and Celebration Circle. And John, I don't know if you could actually bring up, there's a PDF that shows the layout of those 2 roads so people could see where they are. It may make a little more sense if you see it visually.
Is this it?
There we go. So it's Cromwell Lane from Newberry Highland up to Celebration Circle, not the other side of Cromwell Lane. This would just be the north end. And then Celebration Circle is a great big loop that comes down from Newberry and loops back on itself.
They took care of some of the past work that they were going to do before we paved, correct?
Well, there's work out there that needs to be done. But the biggest problem really is the elevation and to try to get the road surface up to match the elevation of the inlets. And that was, the inlets were put in to match final elevation.
Right.
Get there, they're not functioning very well for stormwater.
And
Yeah,
this is part of our commitment to helping the residents of Newberry just reach completion. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and with the developer, what do I want to say, with the property owners, not the property owners, not the homeowners, but the people that own the property, the developers that previously had the developers agreement there, with them no longer doing what they need to do, we have, we've come to agreement that we would go ahead and we would take this over because the people up in Newberry have endured this long enough and it needs to be done. It's a safety risk at this point.
It's a safety problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So we need a vote on that, correct?
Right, we do. Okay, so is there a motion to approve accepting ordinance 2020-02 Cromwell Lane and Celebration Circle?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Keith.
All right.
Item G, discuss and consider ordinance 2020-03, addition to the sign ordinance to permit rooftop signs in the B1 business district subject to certain terms and conditions.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item H, discuss and consider approving an advertisement for a township assistant manager, director of finance.
Yeah, thank you. This is really just to start the advertisement period. We had some discussion with the departure of our director of finance back in February. So while we're going through, this pandemic and really changing the way we work, we do need to fill this finance position. So I'd like to start the search, and they're asking you guys to help with approving the advertisement tonight.
Make a motion, we get the advertisement started for that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. At this time, is there any public comment?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Let me get this back up. Yeah, sorry, we forgot to do the public comment initially. So if anyone has any comments to offer, now's a good time. We have had the chat feature open So what we can address, I only see maybe one comment on there, and it kind of refers to what we were talking about before the meeting with the Senate bill. So we'll touch on that under new business.
Okay.
And I guess we're there. Are we there?
We are there. We're at the end of the agenda. So if you want to touch on that now,
Yeah.
under new business, you can leave it for your report. You might as well do it now.
Okay. So we have been taking some calls from residents, and the question on the chat referred to is South Fayette going to do anything related to taxes in light of what we're seeing with COVID-19? My understanding is that Senate Bill, is it 841? Did I get the number right?
It is. It's 841.
841 passed today and is awaiting signature of the governor. When that's in effect, then we'll have the ability to extend the discount period through the end of August, and we'll certainly pass that along to all residents in the township. I think there are some other opportunities that bill provides for local municipalities. So once it's signed and we fully digest what it can do and what powers it has, our thoughts are we'll find a way to operationalize it, make it work. Bob, did I glance over anything that we need to touch on? Or Gwen, did I miss anything in that House bill that we should touch on? I mean, the message is that as soon as we're able to, we will. And it looks like we're on that right path with Senate Bill 841 getting passed today.
Exactly. I think that's what everybody needs to know is that, we as the township are committed to doing everything we can to help our residents. This bill just came out. It was just voted on today. So it passed the House, it passed the Senate. It's now on the governor's desk awaiting the signature. Once the signature is on the bill, becomes law, then we can go ahead and we can enact it as the municipality. So anything that comes our way that we're able to pass along to our residents, we're committed to doing. So once we have that, we have the language, we know exactly, what it states and what our abilities are, we will definitely pass that along to all residents.
Yeah, we'll put it on the website, push it out through social media, and make sure that we do everything we can to make people aware of how they can take advantage of whatever benefit is there. But, unfortunately, it hasn't been signed yet, so we're still waiting on that, but it looks like it's going to be there real soon. Any questions from other board members on that Senate bill? Well, what I wanted to touch on a little bit in my report was just updating everyone on.
Well, do we have any? Is there any board discussion on anything else before we move on to your report, John?
Yeah, no, go right ahead.
Nothing for me.
Not me.
I have a couple of things. First, I just want to say thank you to Andrea for continuing to update the website constantly so people are informed. It's real-time information. So if anybody has any questions, they need any additional information, our website is a great resource for people to go to. If anybody's experiencing any struggles or need during this time, reach out to the township via email, via the website, web contact, via phone. We're all in this together. We're all, there to help one another at this time to get through this safely. And the other thing I want to say is thank you to John Barrett for continuing to keep this place afloat. He's really done a great job making sure that the township continues to run efficiently, effectively. We haven't skipped a beat to this point, and so it's just great. We have a lot of great things coming here in the future, and with his dedication to the township and continuing to do the work he does, we're not going to miss a thing the minute this all settles down and we get back to normal. So thank you, John, for all of your help and everything you've done.
Thank you, John.
Staff's working too. So yeah, we are able to get a lot of stuff done. I wanted to mention, one of the things that we've been getting a lot of calls on with regards to, how things have changed is trash pickup. Waste Management has come out and said that they're altering their service. First thing they did was they cut their call service, right? So we don't have any 800 numbers to call, or residents can't call Waste Management at all with missed pickups. That all is coming through the township. They've also, suspended any bulk pickup. They're not picking up any yard waste. They're asking that all trash and recycling be in cans. So I know we went round and round with a couple times with folks that were looking to put trash and loose in bags on the street, and I think the reality is that those things just aren't getting picked up. So we really need people during this time to just be a little, it's a sacrifice, but might not be able to put out as much trash. And if yard waste or things that you would look to put out, they just won't collect it now. On the yard waste issue, a bit of good news. We were able to get our leaf collection scheduled for May 2nd. So May 2nd is a date when leaf collection will happen in the township. Waste Management confirmed that with us today. So we'll make sure everyone's aware of that. I know people might have wanted that a little earlier, but that's as soon as we could get it out. So that's really been our largest change of behavior in terms of services provided. The other thing that I wanted to make sure the board was aware of is related to Hickory Grade Road and our proposed acquisition of that property. We're halfway through our due diligence period. We did hear from CEC today, and they were able to get the soils analysis complete. They hope to have a written report to us by the 23rd of April, which would give us a few weeks to review that and make sure that there's nothing that would scare us away from being able to build responsibly on that site. So we are moving through that due diligence period, and just wanted to comment that that is, still a priority for us, and we haven't lost sight of that given where we are as a society. Yeah, other than that, I just also wanted to mention, this meeting here is one example of how we're using technology. Later this month, we are going to have a planning commission meeting and a zoning board meeting. So certainly land development applications and any other applications that would typically go to the planning commission, we're going to accept them, and we're going to run through a review process as we normally would. It's just going to look a little different. So we are trying to keep business flowing best we can. And, this month we'll have our board meeting, both zoning and planning will meet as well.
Good.
Okay.
Hey, John, I have one question about the waste management.
Yeah.
There's been some talk that residents have seen the garbage men going through the garbage and picking things out. Have you heard that, or is that just a rumor?
No, I think that's true. And I think what they're looking for when we talk to Waste Management is they're looking for yard waste in the trash. Apparently that is causing Waste Management some operational challenges. I guess they don't have the ability to take yard waste to a landfill or to their normal places. So when they see yard waste, even if it just looks like grass clippings or some brush or twig leaves, they're not taking it at all.
Yeah. So is that going to be a constant now from now on out? I mean, they have picked it up in the past. It's just.
Yeah. No, they will. I mean, I think as soon as we get out of the situation we're in, so hopefully May 1, that's me knocking on wood. Hopefully May 1, are back to normal here. But no, it's not a permanent thing. It's only in response to the COVID.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
If
John,
this is extended though, we pay them a lot of money for service, and because they've reduced service and eliminated some services, will they give us a refund or a rebate or anything like that?
Yeah, we've been talking about that with other South Hills communities. We're all in, through the SHACOG in these joint agreements. So I think when the dust settles here, there'll be a meeting with Waste Management, and we'll push that, right? And I think if we unified in that ask, it'll help us a lot. So that certainly is in the cards.
So it's going to be SHACOG that would negotiate because of the joint contract?
Well, I think SHACOG would convene, right? They would convene with the municipalities and allow us to express, our interest in that and see what kind of response we get from Waste Management. But, SHACOG jointly bids it, and then each community has their own contract. But I think because we're dealing with all the communities as a whole, it'd be easier to negotiate in a joint fashion versus individually.
That makes sense.
Go ahead, Beck, I cut you off.
That's okay. It's not related to waste management, but I just wanted to ask John, or Gwen, you may know this too, about the road giving way on Miller's Run. I see that there's stop signs. Is there a limited amount of people that cannot work on it, or do you anticipate the road being closed down completely to fix that, or do you know anything more?
That's PennDOT though, isn't that, John? That's not
Yeah.
township.
I don't have a lot of information there. Does anyone else out there know anything about that road condition? I thought it was mostly a mudslide that was getting
Sean?
cleaned up.
Yeah, it's down, they're using it's a one way right now, one lane.
Right. The road kind of gave way underneath, and by the way it looks like it's going to be a pretty extensive fix.
Okay.
So I didn't know if we were contacted by PennDOT, or if we contact PennDOT, if people, start to ask, hey, what's going on? Are they going to close the road? How long, if they are? So I don't know.
I know we put a notice out when it was closed. We'll reach out to PennDOT to see what their repair schedule is like, and if they've assessed, the damage. That hasn't come across my desk. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, my guess is
Okay.
right now, because of the way PennDOT has just laid off majority of their workforce, that there's not going to be any repair plans or anything. They're just in
Right.
emergency mode.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can find out. I'll find out.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't have anything else on my report. Be happy to answer any other questions if anyone has them.
I don't have any. Okay. We want to move on. Any solicitors report this evening?
Nothing this evening.
Wow. Okay. All right. Is there any executive session items this evening?
No, nothing. I mean, the only thing personnel related would have been the job advertisement, unless there's, no, I don't have a need for executive session.
Okay. Well, then let's do, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
They say.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.